Hello everyone, Dan14 Prime here. Want to do a video share today with you guys on the Leader Class Jetfire and Voyager Class Optimus Prime Transformers Studio Series Revenge of the Fallen combined look. Be sure to check out my reviews of each of these figures on the channel. Check me out on Instagram, same handle Dan14 Prime. And if you're interested in picking these figures up, check the link in the description below. Check out my Amazon page. If you're a Transformers fan, I think you'll like it. Okay, let's jump in and get to it. Let's start off here with Leader Class 35 Jetfire in Voyager Class 32 Optimus Prime in their base bop modes here, and it is good to have Jetfire's cane as well. You can always add more accessories, but I think this is all you need for the minimum configuration for these two figures. Let's first prep Optimus Prime for the combination. A few simple steps. First, we just want to flip up the legs. Just flip those around and get the feet up like that. Spin those around. Not a big deal, but you kind of want to get the armors underneath the bottom of the arm. Come around back. And we want to swing down his flap and then just get the tanks kind of like this. You can always perfect a lot of these things later. But generally you want this kind of look. And then there are some really small hooks here, which are going to be for the jetpack. I'm going to pop these out. And just get those, actually you'll want them pointing straight back to plug into the jetpack. All right, that's all we need to do to prime. I want to spend a minute here talking about Studio Series Prime number 5 versus 32. People wonder if Jetfire can combine with Optimus number 5. I'm going to say no. He's clearly missing some key elements here. There's a groove here in the shin missing. When you come around side here, there's a peg here as well for the leg missing. So you're not really going to be able to put on the leg pieces. And when you come around the back for the jetpack, these tabs we flipped out, nothing like that back here on Optimus at all either, as well as some differences in the chest here. So he doesn't have the combination pieces to be able to work with Jetfire. Next up, we can prep Jetfire. Just grab the cane, just set that aside for now. Basically, prepping Jetfire is an exercise of just popping him apart. So lower legs, these slide on here, so pop those off. Just a little sliding mechanism. Can be pretty tight sometimes. We pop those off, just kind of set those aside. Let's just break them down first. Pop off the little rubber accessories, of course. We want to separate them at the waist now. So if we just pull up his waist extension, pop this out, and get this extended, there is a separation point here in the middle of this piece. So I want to separate that. And this will be the jetpack. So we'll set that aside. And up here, we do want to pull off what it will be the shoulder pads. So extend the tip of the plane. And it separates here just before the hinge. So the hinge actually stays on. And you pull that out there. See that? We have these pieces separated. This will actually be a gun. Not well explained in the directions, but I'll show you. This you can go ahead and split as well. Will be shoulder pads. Let's start here with the lower legs. Pretty simple. Just pull this piece out of the jet. Then we just want to give this a rotation over to the side. Just to kind of give it a little prepping. You can always come back to some of these things. Again, pull it apart. This will be the front. And just give that a little bit of swing over. So you want the peg on the inside. Then if we grab Optimus here, one other peg I didn't point out in comparison to Studio 5, but you get a nice chunky peg shooting off of the knee area here. And a peg hole here in the jet. So those obviously will peg together. Pretty secure. This front thigh piece will go right into that groove that I pointed out. So that clips in there. And then again, this piece that we spun around, peg on the inside, hole right there on the side of the leg. And that will peg into there. All pretty nice and secure. Again, we'll do the other side. Big peg in the back, kind of at a funky angle. Push that up, swing that over and around, and lock it in the side there. We then grab the Jetpack piece, and we'll start off stock, and I'll show you kind of how I like to tweak it. But fold down this little top extension piece. Again, we'll go ahead and fold these down, even though I prefer to have them out later. I'll show you. Split the wings. The crotch. And we just kind of get these going out to the side here. And that's it. You're basically just like this. These are going to be the holes. So if we bring on our Prime, again, here's the little hook. There was the little holes. So if I can do this behind the camera. So this backpack will just kind of fit over his backpack right there. And then you just find these holes with the tab. Get that over there, and those tabs kind of hook down, so I just give them a bit of a backpack, a bit of a pull up, get it nice and deeply locked in there. So we have that look. Remember here we had taken the nose of the plane and split it. And this is the shoulder pads. Plane side facing out. The peg is right there towards the top, and it will just go right into the shoulder. Pretty nice deep peg. I've had no issues with these things. Had no issues really with any of the pegging on the Prime. The build and the configuration, solid. You can also, on this left arm, take the landing gear, fold it up like this. You get a hole there. I guess actually on this arm, let's close up that armor, and there's a tab underneath. Plug that in. And then the last thing here, really, per the instructions at least, our favorite little rubber accessories here. Bring these around to the front. They will clip together. If I get them facing the right direction there, they'll clip together like this. And then we'll slide kind of up and underneath the chest section here. Just slide that up in that middle gap. So here you have the stock configuration. We're going to keep going a bit more, but just give you a look at what this what it looks like there. And the combination is really solid. I think it all is very movie accurate. It looks good. All the pieces are there mostly. This is a bit of a plain configuration, no pun intended. But when you come around back here, you know, this could definitely lose a bit of tweaking. It's all just kind of plain down. So we're going to come back to that section, make the engines and the wings look a bit cooler. Check out how the legs kind of flare around the back and everything. So I think it does look really good. It looks really good, but we can improve it a bit more. So let's keep going. Okay, so the area I like to tweak, you know, I don't like this big just chunk of plastic hanging over the top of his head. And, you know, the jet engines and the wings have some opportunity to look cooler, right? So let's come around the back here. And getting the jet engines just sort of out a bit and angled looks more like the movie. Pull this back, you know, flare the wings, and you can then take this piece and drop it down so it's not you know, hanging over his head like that. So you can do something like that, and of course you can play with the level of where you want the wings, how far out you want them, etc. I like to do it something like this, where I think you get the over the head kibble faded into the background enough, you get some flare to the wings. I think it looks a bit cooler. You see how that comes off the side. Guy's hips could be a little tighter sometimes. Likes to lean back, but there you can have that effect. You know, it makes a little bit more protruding there, but I think from the front, definitely cooler, and getting those out a bit more helps too. So you can always play with that stuff. Definitely cooler looking. I think a bit more movie accurate too. Okay, now let's address the leftover Jetfire that we have. And in terms of breakdown, one thing I could have told you to do sooner, but it's not a big deal, is pop these gray pieces of plastic off of the Jetpack. Those just tab in there, just pop them right off. Then you can take these and tab them together. So you get this. And if we take the rest of Jetfire here, and this is not in the instructions, I just kind of heard word on the street you could do something with this, and I actually watched the MGO video, give credit where credit is due, and he had done this transformation. So let me show you this. So let's lay him out flat. Oh, of course, let's unpeg the shoulders up there. and then just get this stretched back flat. Get that extension piece nice and flat if you haven't yet. We've kind of flattened all this out. We want to bring this up around. Peg here, peg in the top of the head, pegs up there, so those will come together. More of those blind pegs, but to get that good, make sure you have this double hinge pulled forward as much as possible so you get the full length to work with the top of that head. Squish in the beard. Let's take the plastic piece here and actually flip this up all the way. Just rest it up there. You can see a little knob up there. That will be the handle of the gun. And if we come underneath here, this is where turning this into a big gun starts to fall apart a little bit. There's nothing great to do with the arms, really. But kind of fold those all the way down like you would in jet mode. Those crunchies all the way down. Take the hands and fold these up again. Peg them in like you would in jet mode. Just peg them right into the forms there. Then we just want to get the arms oriented in such a way, down and then spun, because there's a peg here, hole here on the back of the arm. That's what we want to get pegged together. Tricky thing here is to make sure you've got the right shoulder orientation so you can fold that up all the way. And then with the double elbow, you can bring that up and, again, peg it right there. Same thing over here. Just to make sure you've got the shoulder oriented the right way. You can bring that up, spin it around, and peg it right there. Now, a bit more difficult of a peg if you would like, though it's less important. Kind of fold these in a bit. There is, you can use this shoulder peg, the same thing on the airplane, not the most reliable. You get a couple pegs here. The first one, it kind of can go in there, but I find it kind of fickle. So I just sort of get it pretty dang close, but getting that to always stay is difficult. But you more or less have this shape. So this is this big cannon here. Let's not forget our bits that we had just taken off the legs, and those will just plug in. Got it backwards here. Plug in like that, and now you actually have something that looks a bit more like a gun. It works okay, pretty good from this angle. Again, it's all the kibble with the arms, which really makes it imperfect. Maybe that's why they sort of abandoned it from the directions and didn't necessarily make it official. And to do this as best we can, here's where we take the armor down. Just to kind of create room. Again, the handle is right in there. And this, he can grip this. It's not the tightest peg either, in terms of pegging into the hand. There it is, pretty loose. Ridiculously large. His arm doesn't support it and it kind of just droops down off the side of his leg. But that's all the parts in use in the combination. It accurately reflects all the things he had in the movie, I think. Just being that the gun is probably the least perfectly executed of all of it. The rest of it, I think, is done really, really well. So let me give you a bit of an articulation overview. I think everything's pretty solid. Again, I just find sometimes, and maybe it's just how I use the backpack, maybe that's why they like it folded up flatter, but droopiness in the hip sometimes can kind of be an issue, just tension in the hip joint. But, he keeps his swivel up there at the thigh. He keeps his bend up there at the knee, which is still pretty good. And the one thing that suffers is the feet rotate the wrong way. You want that pivot to go in, not out. He keeps a bit of the waist. It's not too bad. You can get something there, probably more if you really want to mess around with the wheels. Up here at the shoulders, again, it's all there. You just got to manage the backpack. Nothing really blocked. And he keeps all his bot articulation underneath. But yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Really, just the ankle being the only complaint. And here he is as decked out as I can get him, and in the look that I prefer the most in terms of the wings and everything in the jetpack. Holding the gun up is difficult. Again, it's kind of like resting on his leg to even get it hip high and straight. Again, the ankles would be great if they would have pivoted the other way. But, cool shoulder pads, got the little blaster underneath. I think the rocket engines look fantastic in terms of the jetpack in this mode. Flaring out the wings, adds some style, makes it look cool. The back of the legs all look really good. So yeah, this thing is a monster. And again, it all fits together really well, I think. Just save for the gun, which is definitely not perfect. Maybe if anything, it would be if his arms could pop off, you could make that a bit lighter and look a bit better. But there he all is. Looks good. All right, guys, so there they are. Leader Class Jetfire, 35, Voyager Optimus Prime, number 32, Transformers Studio Series. If you follow me on Instagram, same handle, Dan14th Prime. You've seen them together already, but hope this video was helpful in terms of how you go about putting them together and how to get different looks on the figure. If you're interested in picking these guys up, check the link in the description below. Check out my Amazon page for all your Transformers shopping. I picked up my Optimus there at regular retail price of $30, well ahead of a lot of brick and mortar retail. As always, any shopping you do with those links is very much appreciated, and the easiest way for you to say thanks if anything on the channel is ever helpful to you. All right, guys, thanks for checking in. I'll see you next time.